Hello, I'm back again with another video. Sorry for the relatively inconsistent uploading recently. I've just been honestly playing a lot of Jedi Fallen Order, which was on sale recently, so I finally got it. That's been fun. I've also been rock climbing and working on some other things, which I may or may not be posting to the channel soon. I'm going to be working on a lot of videos this week, so I'll be uploading a bit more. And yeah, so the topic of this video is Chainsaw Man's pacing, and this is something I've seen a lot of fans talking about recently. And the consensus is that Chainsaw Man has very quick or abrupt pacing a large majority of the time, most recently being in the last few episodes of the anime, which of course is earlier on in the manga, where Himeno and the rest of Division 4 special units, I forgot the name of the team, but the public safety team 4 that Makima was in charge of, is attacked by the Yakuza assassins, and a large majority of them die. The reason this feels so abrupt is because literally like that morning or the night before is when Denji and Himeno kind of get together, and then the following morning they make their pact and are officially friends, with Himeno trying to get Denji with Makima and then Denji trying to get Himeno with Aki. The story seemingly sets up this friendship and kind of next phase as they're trying to help each other out, and then all of a sudden, I think it literally is that same day later on, if not the next day in the story, they're attacked, and at the end of it, Himeno is dead, a bunch of other members of the team are dead, and Denji and everyone are kind of left just blindsided by this. Us as the viewer experienced the same whiplash as someone like Aki, where this all happened really fast, and now he's sitting there in his hospital bed just distraught over what's happened to his best friend. Of course, this leads him to go on and make a new pact with the devil in order for him to keep up and continue hunting the gun devil, which shows how much of a pivotal moment this was, and I think that whiplash is completely intentional. It showed that things seem to be going one way with Denji finally getting a friend, and Himeno, they have this goal together to get each other with the person they like, and then out of nowhere it all changes, and we find out later on in the episode Makima seemingly was aware or somewhat intended on this happening, predicted it, something along those lines. I won't get too into details here, but you know, manga stuff. This all just makes it feel even more abrupt, as they were just hanging out with Makima, drinking and everything, so you wonder, okay, if she was somewhat anticipating this, why was that? And it makes you feel even more just blindsided, whiplashed, and I think, again, that's the storytelling point here. We're feeling what characters in the story would be feeling, mostly Kobanai and Aki, as they seem the most emotionally distraught, as Denji doesn't really want to think about it, and he questions if he even has a heart since becoming a devil. This is a huge turning point in the story, and I think the way it was depicted and giving you the same perspective as someone like Aki or Kobanai again is really well done, and it really puts you in the shoes of these characters. It makes you shift along with the story as it heads in this new direction. Things were never going to be that good or innocent for so long in Chainsaw Man, obviously, given the world and story itself. This reminds me of a moment later in the manga where Denji opens a door, and that's all I'm going to say about that because manga spoilers. But yeah, things can shift really quickly in the story and feel abrupt, but then when you think about it, there is build-up and meaning behind it. It didn't just happen for shock value. Although it definitely does have that same shock value, there is meaning behind it and reasoning, which I think is really well done, especially in this moment. I think it's a prime example that we see time and time again in the story. So yeah, in this instance, the whiplash is felt and it is extremely abrupt, but that is the intent, I believe, at least. We're put in the same shoes as these characters, where life seemed to be going one way, as did the story, and then all of a sudden it changes just like that, and it is really tragic. Moving on from this instance, though, I will be getting into some manga spoilers, so if you haven't read the manga yet, please exit, unless you don't mind spoilers. But yeah, I'm going to be talking about how the story as a whole does seemingly move very quick. There's two parts so far. There's part 1 of the story, and then part 2, which is currently ongoing. Just briefly getting into that, I'm not going to go too crazy into detail, but a lot of things happen very quickly, such as Power's death or Aki's death. Both happen extremely quickly, and again, I think there's reasoning for both. Both these things happening so quickly show Denji's absolute emotional and mental turmoil at processing them. When he has to kill Aki, who turns into the gun devil, and it all happens so fast, he's left wondering, should I have done something else? Was there another way? Did I have to kill this person who I now care about so much? We seem absolutely distraught and depressed after this point. And as for Power, it's the same thing. Him opening that door, unknowingly, obviously, that Makima was going to just destroy Power in that moment. led to Power dying, and it all happened so fast that he's absolutely in shock. He's wondering if this is a dream, a nightmare. This person, Makima, that he cared about so much and liked and thought so positively of, just did this horrible thing right in front of him. It's too much for him to process, and he literally he doesn't want to think. He can't think. It's so much for him. Coming from a life where only he cared about survival to now having all these different things to think about, people to care about, he's just in a state of absolute shock. And when they go to sit back down on the couch and Makima's there just laughing, saying how everything she's given him he can take away, any happiness in his life, she's in control of it, and showing her true colors as just the control devil. She was in control this whole time. She gave him people to care about, a loving family-like dynamic, and then just like that, she took them both away, and he could be blamed for both of those things as well. He opened the door, obviously unknowingly, of what Makima was going to do, which led to Power dying, and then he also killed Aki in that moment, not knowing what else to do, so he's just left completely broken. Us, like Denji in this moment, feel the whiplash. In the first turnaround, which I mentioned earlier, it was Aki's whiplash, mostly felt. Denji didn't want to think about it, and here we see Denji's absolutely emotionally distraught to the point where he just turns off his brain and doesn't want to think. Even before it happened to Power, he just told Makima he wants to be her dog, he doesn't want to think, and then after what happened to Power, he was just gone. You can see this ideal version of Makima just shatter as she sits there laughing. She's still kind of the same person. She seems like the same personality, but now her true colors have shown, and she's like, yeah, well, I was behind all of this, and you're essentially just a dog to me. All of this to say, I feel like Chainsaw Man's abrupt moments or fast pacing with things like that aren't all done for shock value. I think they all have build up, and we're meant to feel what these characters are feeling a large majority of the time. I'm sure there might be other examples which aren't like this that I'm just not thinking about, but overall, I really love the pacing of this story. I think it's done really perfectly and intentionally in a way that I feel is emotionally satisfying. So yeah, that's it for this video. I'm gonna work on some more today, so please subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one.